Good morning. I want to welcome you all to the Orange County Buddhist Church and Vista Buddhist Temple Sunday morning service. My name is Reverend John Turner, and I'd like to begin with Gasho. If we could put our hands together. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Nam Manda Butsu, Nam Manda Butsu, Nam Manda Butsu. I hope you're all staying well and safe. I know this past 10, 11 weeks of distancing has been difficult. All of us really miss going to the temple and being in the Hondo. I haven't been at OCBC since March 13th. It's very difficult. And we're all getting a little bit of stir crazy of COVID fatigue. But now it's time to really focus and stay careful. And when we open up, it will be slowly and gradually and very safely. So today, we're going to have a service, our normal family service, and we're really lucky to have a special speaker today, Reverend Ellen Crane. We will begin with Sutra chanting. It's on page 39 in your service book, but it's also on the ocbuddhist.org webpage. There's a link to the service book with all the chants in it. And then after that, I wanted to talk a little bit about a virtual osaisen box that's available. When we receive something of value, like the Dharma, we want to kind of return the favor and give something of value in return. And so we have a donate button, I'll show you. And then we're going to have a special musical offering by Annette from the Vista Buddhist Temple. It's called Kyokeki Hikari, which means pure light. And I looked at it. It's gorgeous to listen to. There's 4 of her playing again, and the lyrics will be on the video. But we don't sing this one often at OCBC, but it's really gorgeous. And I looked at who wrote the lyrics. It was someone you might have heard of, Shinran Shonin. So these are actually 3 wasans from the collected works on page 325 and page 326. So we're very lucky to have another one of those from Annette. And then we'll have a wonderful Dharma talk from Reverend Crane called The Shin of Speed Bumps. It's really quite good. And then we'll end with that Sangha of OCBC singing Ondoku-san. Oh, and the lines in burnt orange are leader lines for me, and all the others will chant together. And the syllables with the underline means they get a beat and a half. So we'll begin again with Gasho. We'll bring the service book to our foreheads, and then we'll begin to chant. Namo Amida Butsu, Nam Manda Butsu, Nam Manda Butsu, Nam Manda Butsu. Nagon chosengam hishimunyoro shigan fumanzo seifu josho nga omuryoko fuinai seishu Fusai shobungu seifu josho nga shi jobutsu do myosho chojipo kukyo mishomon seifu josho nga Ryokujin shonen joe shubongyo shigumu jodo isho teninchi jinriki endai ko fusho musaido shoujo sankumyo 交際集約難海一永遠名詞公門閉塞小悪道通達全注文高僧上満足いよろじぽ日月主樹期天候音不言一種海王像公正苦毒法上内集中説法四識供養異細仏具足修徳本元年出上満徳異三害を如仏無下知通達未不詳願学営利投資最小尊志願若果内政の感動幸福昇天人とうちん妙芸ナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブがんにしくどく平等性一切道本母内心往生安楽Namandavs, namandavs, 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 namandavs. Thank you very much. You chanted so loud I could hear you from home. Again, I think for me, chanting is the most important practice that we have in Jodo Shinshu. You hear it, you say it, and you feel it in your heart. And it opens you up to listen to the teachings. I always feel transformed after I chant. I don't know if you can tell, but I go from type A plus to maybe type A minus. So that's a big difference. So I wanted to show this to you. I went on the ocbuddhist.org website, and on the right-hand side, on the first page, the first screen, there's a little button that says donate. And I clicked on it, and I was able to donate money to the OC Buddhist Church. It was as easy as buying something at Amazon. You can do it with PayPal or credit card. And it's not so much the money, but it's returning something back of value when you receive something of value. This is a very common thing in Eastern Buddhist traditions. For example, on Father's Day, we're planning to have our Father's Music Sunday service where the music is the message. And a lot of people wonder if the song has to be Buddhist. It doesn't have to be Buddhist. When you sing or you perform your art, you are sharing something of great value with the Sangha. You're giving something back of great value. And so when you, at the end of this service, when you gasho and give incense at home, I hope, you can also donate into this virtual osaisen box. And it's not so much the amount, but the act of giving back and acknowledging something that you've received of deep value through these services and from the Buddha Dharma. So I just wanted to share that with you. So next, we will have a musical offering by Annette from the Vista Buddhist Temple. We talked about this song. It is on, starts with a K. Is on page 126 in our service book. And the lyrics are by our founder, Shinran Shonin. And then afterwards, we will have a Dharma message by Reverend Crane, the Shin of speed bumps, which we're bumping into a lot these past 10 weeks. And then we'll close with Ondoko-san. Thank you very much. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.
Hello everyone, please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu. Well, here we are. I'm in my house, you're in your house, and still we can share the Dharma. I want to thank both Reverend Matsumi Wendra and Reverend John Turner for giving me this opportunity to speak with you this morning. So before I begin, I wanted to tell you about the two objects on either side of me that are behind me. On this side, I have one of my 4 obutsudans. It's the smallest that I possess, and it is special to me because it was made by Tak Kozukura, who was actually my junior YBA advisor when I was at OCBC many, many, many years ago. And on this side is a statue of the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, otherwise known as Kannon Bodhisattva. And this was given to me when I was 14, 15 by Mrs. Nakawatase from the Shin Buddhist temple. And she gave it to me as a reminder to follow and study the Buddhist path. So I've had this a very long time. So to get to my topic, which you can see is the Shin of speed bumps. And you may wonder how this topic comes about. Well, I'm taking a page out of Reverend Harada's playbook. He has always said that we can find the Dharma everywhere and anywhere. And it's really a matter of perception and seen how the teachings reveal that to us. So you may ask specifically, why speed bumps? And there's a couple reasons. So first of all, I was out on my bicycle the other day. I was riding alone because I'm no longer riding with my bicycle group. We're trying to keep our physical distancing, trying to be observant of that. So we haven't been riding together for many weeks now. And although I think we're thinking of maybe starting to get together if we stay 6 feet apart and maybe if we wear masks, I don't know. We're talking about it. Anyway, I was out riding my bike, and I actually also, besides riding with my group, I enjoy riding alone as well. It's a different experience, but it gives me an opportunity to be with my own thoughts. And I can go anywhere I like. I can take all the trails that we have here in Irvine, and it's a way for me to meditate. So I was doing that the other day and going through Mason Regional Park, which is not too far from my house. I was on my way home, and I went over this speed bump, this big white square you see in the picture. It doesn't look like a speed bump, but it is. And I had a flash of insight and thought, maybe I could use this as a topic for my Dharma talk. So I circled back around and took this photograph, which I'm using in my Dharma talk. And so that thought kind of followed me home. And then it made me think of another recollection that I had from an experience talking to a friend many years ago, maybe, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. A friend of mine talked about her experience of going to Thich Nhat Hanh's Deer Park Monastery in Escondido. At that time, I wasn't even familiar with Thich Nhat Hanh or his monastery, didn't know much about any of that. But she was very enthusiastic about his practice and going down there for a retreat. And she told me about a walking meditation practice that had along their route these speed bumps. But instead they were referred to as mindfulness bumps. So when people got to them, they paused, took a breath, brought attention to that moment. And for me, it was the first time that I really remembered hearing the word mindfulness. It was just kind of starting to become talked about in culture and in the media. So I want to thank Thich Nhat Hanh and teachers like him for bringing this idea into modern culture, because today all of us know about mindfulness. So I was thinking, I could bring this example into my thoughts about speed bumps, and what a perfect way to use this as a nice example. So I called my friend and asked her, do you remember this conversation we had many years ago about when you went on a retreat at Deer Park Monastery and you told me about these speed bumps or these mindfulness bumps? And she said, I don't remember ever having that conversation, and I don't remember anything about speed bumps or mindfulness bumps that I recall. And I thought, okay, maybe I made this up. So instead of giving up, I next called Judy Nakatomi, who is a member she's a MA actually at the Vista Buddhist Temple. And she has been ordained in the Thich Nhat Hanh tradition at Deer Park. And I figured for sure Judy would be able to tell me about this. So I asked her, do you recall anything about mindfulness bumps at the monastery? And she goes, I don't really remember hearing anything about that. And so I'm thinking this must be a total figment of my imagination, but it's a memory that I've had for over a dozen years. So I went on the Deer Park website and I found this picture of the winding path. And to me, those look like speed bumps. And so for me, I'm just going to think of them as mindfulness bumps. And I think whether it's a reality or not, it's a good thought. So that was the other reason why I decided to use this as my theme, even though I found out after the fact that maybe it was a figment of my imagination. Anyway, I went home, hadn't talked to either Judy or my friend Joanna at that point, and started to pursue this idea of the speed bump. And first of all, I wanted to find some historical information. I like finding out facts about things, and a speed bump's kind of an interesting thing, to some degree. And so I found out that there was an early form of speed bump that occurred in New Jersey in 1906, where some workers raised some crosswalks 5 inches to reduce drivers' speed. But it wasn't really until the 1950s that the speed bump really came into its own. And it was the product of this person, Arthur Holly Compton, who invented the speed bump in 1953. Now, he's not remembered for really being the inventor of the speed bump. He's remembered for being a Nobel Prize winner for discovering the particle nature of electromagnetic radiation. He discovered that in 1923, got the Nobel Prize in 1927. So he's actually more famous for that, but he is the inventor of the speed bump. And the way that came about was he was working at Washington University in St. Louis, which I guess is where he did a lot of his studies. And he was in his lab and noticed that there was a problem with speeding drivers. So he designed the first speed bump, which he called a traffic control bump. Well, interestingly, even today on the Washington University campus, those speed bumps are called Holly bumps, which I think is a wonderful tribute to its inventor and a nice remembrance of that man. So let's continue. And what are speed bumps? Let's just charge forward. Speed bumps keep people from driving too fast, very simply. They're a safety mechanism, and for most of us, they are an annoying temporary nuisance. And most of us find them very irritating. But because I have been coming to OCBC, because I've been studying the Dharma, because I've been influenced by so many teachers, I have a kind of Shin perspective on looking at things in my life and looking at things in a little bit different way. So the Dharma has done that for me in almost every aspect of my life. So as I passed over this speed bump in Mason Park, it got me to thinking about how speed bumps are actually a metaphor for setbacks and difficulties in our lives. So I'm not the first person that thought of speed bumps in that way. I did a web search of overcoming speed bumps in life, and there was a whole raft of articles, and I would like to share some of them with you to show the different ways that people have used the metaphor of speed bumps to talk about overcoming obstacles. So here's one from LinkedIn: How to Overcome Setbacks, Disappointments, and Speed Bumps on the Road to Goal Accomplishment and Still Be Wildly Successful. So if you know anything about LinkedIn, you know that it is a networking website. It's sort of the business equivalent to Facebook. It's how people can connect with each other and maybe get ahead in their careers. So, it has some useful purposes. Then there's this website from something called Dumb Little Man. which I thought was an interesting name. And here it looks as if this person is trying to gain material success in life. And he's using the metaphor of speed bumps as his obstacles. I look at this picture and I see a very stressed looking person. He's sort of in a hurry. He doesn't look like he's really taking a whole lot of time. I'm sure he's looking at his speed bumps as irritations. So then I found this site, which is a little bit closer to Shin Buddhism. It's from a Dr. Jen Hostler, and her article is called 3 Ways to Overcome Speed Bumps. She was more concerned with dealing with physical health and what do you do or how do you cope with situations where your health is not good or you're having some health problems. So I liked her 3 tips. She said to 1, keep going no matter what. 2, gratitude wins. And 3, everything is temporary. So we've heard that before, right? Gratitude and everything is temporary. Sounds like impermanence to me. So I like this article because it was sounding the most Buddhist to me. Then I came across this website called Overcoming Speed Bumps. This is exactly my website search. And this is an article from Josiah Sullivan. He's a man who actually overcame a huge obstacle in his life. He was a young man who enjoyed his sports. He was apparently somewhat of an athlete. His sport of choice was lacrosse. He was in an auto accident and became a quadriplegic. This would be a horrible occurrence for most people. It was devastating, obviously. But he became a motivational speaker, and he now goes to high schools to speak to students about what happened to him and how he has used his circumstance in a really positive and useful way that has made his life very fulfilling and meaningful. So from that, it also sounds like he's been able to overcome a very difficult circumstance. So all these articles are ways to draw valuable lessons from our disappointments and the unexpected and unwanted occurrences in our lives, our metaphorical speed bumps. Let's turn to Shinran now. What about the Shin Buddhist perspective on life's speed bumps? Shin is not focused on material gain, getting ahead in life, staying healthy, as worthwhile as all of those goals are. We all need to deal with that and address those in some important ways, no matter who we are. But instead, the Shin perspective is the spiritual perspective and a way to deal with life's speed bumps through the teachings. So, how do life's speed bumps help us to answer these questions about meaning and fulfillment? What can a 13th century stubble-haired, defrocked Japanese monk tell me about transcending my life's speed bumps and finding meaning? If we consider the fundamental purpose of a speed bump, it's to do what? Slow down. Rather than react to the irritation and the annoyance of an unfavorable circumstance, this might be the exact moment to pause, step back, reflect, be mindful, and ask yourself, what is this situation telling me about me? Buddha means the awakened one. It's a descriptor for someone awakened from delusion and able to see reality as it is, especially ourselves. As Buddhists, we emphasize coming to terms with the truths of impermanence and the interconnection of existence. We become one with reality as it is, flowing with the changing and creative forces of life. I recognize that I can only exist as a part of the whole. And this is true in the midst of a global pandemic, maybe even more so. On the Shin Buddhist path, we discover two truths about ourselves in the experience called Shinjin awakening. As I come to see my flawed and egotistical nature, there's a deep recognition of how truly hopeless my aspiration for Buddhahood is. And yet, there is the absolute promise of awakening that comes from the power beyond the self, that makes that impossibility possible. The power beyond the self is another name we give to Amida. We could also call it reality, truth, existence, even life. It is everything that supports, maintains, protects, and loves us with boundless compassion. As Shin Buddhists, we do not identify Amida as a god that directs these things to happen, but anyone who becomes mindful of this power beyond us can appreciate us. It is from this recognition that our gratitude and our desire to live an authentic life arises. So Shinjin goes something like this. I understand who and what I am, and because of that, I don't deserve any of what I am given, and yet I receive everything I need. When we incorporate that reality into our lives, we are forced into a position of deep gratitude and profound humility. Today, the pandemic is a speed bump we collectively encounter. We are hearing from many quarters how to deal with this positively and meaningfully, and I think all of the things that we're hearing are very helpful. It's helpful for us to hear about those. And I would include the Buddha Dharma in that as well. It is here to help us deal with the reality of now. Going forward, remember a speed bump only slows you down. It doesn't stop you. So I will leave you with one last thought. When life's road has potholes and speed bumps, it makes you a better driver. Thank you for this opportunity to share my thoughts with you this morning. And I wish you all safety and love. Please take care. Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Take care, everyone.